1. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's only 1.
He's slacking. Look at him. Doesn't even get to the office till 11. Psh.
This is Byron and Nicole White, and you are tuned into episode 95 of The Real Word.
Word is up.
The word is up. It's a Zillow show today.
Well, it's always a Zillow show.
It's not always a Zillow show.
Yeah, you love Zillow.
No. See, that's the message that I think people are going to get confused about right now. And I do want to make that one clear. I'm not a Zillow apologist. I've never been a Zillow apologist. If you look at my history.
Do you see how dirty this table is?
It is filthy. If you look at my history of putting any content out online, I've been just straight down the middle on Zillow, just talking about what they're doing.
Right.
Usually, if you listen, which is agents' biggest problem overall, and I love agents. We're agents. Love you, agents.
Are you a good listener?
But overall, I'm a great listener.
Okay.
I take notes. I absorb. I make a decision on.
Mm-hmm.
But too often, we're not listening to exactly what a company like Zillow is saying. We're jumping into lab coat agents and just spewing BS down the comment thread.
Wow,
complaining.
You did quite a few pages of notes.
Always, yeah, because
1,
because this is an important moment in our industry.
2.
It's like, it's multiple pages of notes.
It's great.
And it's really important stuff.
Well, obviously it's important enough that they hosted this event for, maybe you can go into a little bit of what the event was, because a lot of people may not have heard of Zillow Unlock.
Our first racket, I'm going to give you my 2 biggest takeaways from Zillow Unlock 2019. Let's just frame up what Zillow Unlock is. It was an invite-only event this year, where years past it wasn't invite-only. They went invite-only to the top percentage of premier agents.
Right.
Premier agents, some people are in market-based pricing premier agent model across the country where they're still paying for zip codes. There's some people like us that are in a flex test market. There is, people that are in Zillow Offers, right? So there's all these different things happening right now with Zillow and premier agents. But this was the top couple of percent of premier agents invited to Unlock, right? And so, do you want to just get right into it? It was in Las Vegas. Was at the Aria.
Might as well, right? I mean, unless you want to talk about your flight and your meals and your hotel.
No,
okay, then we'll just get into it.
Flights were terrible. Actually, they were all right.
Well,
I like Delta.
You just didn't go first class.
No. All right, getting into it. Greg Schwartz opened up the conference on Monday, and I don't have any information on Tuesday. I flew out on Tuesday.
I thought that it started on Sunday.
It did start on Sunday, but Sunday was like an opening party.
Oh, did you miss the party?
No, I was there for the party.
Oh, good. Okay.
Sunday.
Yeah.
It was good.
So
I'm
Monday?
sure it was good.
Yeah.
I feel like it was good.
I'm certain it was.
So Greg opened up the comments on Monday, and I'm just going to read you off, right off the top of my notes, 3 things that stuck out to me in the first 5 minutes he was on stage. Zillow is going to be an iconic brand, and the people in this room will benefit. We'll get into that in a second. We will transform an industry together if we focus on innovation like Uber and Lyft.
Okay.
And number 3 here, reorganize our industry. Customers will demand it from us. So a reorg of the entire industry because customers are demanding it. Which, what's interesting? I got a text from somebody who's in the real estate industry but not an agent.
Okay.
And she's in a very powerful position. She texted me and like 3 other agents that she knew were at Zillow Unlock, and she's going through the process right now of buying and selling.
Okay.
And she's like, well, I hope you guys are there trying to figure out how to make this process. She's not using any of us. She's in a different state and whatever. Yeah. But she's like, I hope you guys are using this to figure out how to give better service. I'm buying and selling right now, and it sucks.
Yeah, well, that's why Zillow. Well, again, that would be jumping ahead a little bit because.
So she's in the industry. She understands what agents are working on. Yes. She understands the big stuff that's happening, but she's going through the process of buying and selling right now. And her opinion on her experience is that it sucks.
Right.
That's a message. When Zillow says we're going to reorganize our industry because customers are demanding it, that's a message that they get all the time. Here's another quote from Greg Schwartz. No, and I heard this over and over again, and I believe it to be true.
Oh, absolutely.
No one has more data on real estate than Zillow does. We've been saying that.
That I agree with, yeah,
right?
For
because
sure.
How many people say to you, Nicole, I found the house on Zillow, or are sending you Zillow links of the homes they're looking at?
Oh, all the time.
Right?
All the time. I mean, I send Zillow links.
Let's go back to the opening. Zillow is going to be an iconic brand, and the people in this room will benefit. I would add to that, Greg, the people in this room that are listening will benefit. There's so many agents right now that are hearing this type of talk from Zillow. They're telling you black and white what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
They are going from a advertising platform to a transaction platform. They said that. That's somewhere in my notes here, that exact line. They said that multiple times. We are going to a transaction platform. That's far different than what they've done the last 5 or 10 years. And the agents that listen to what they're saying, they don't necessarily have to be in that room, but if you're in that room, you have a much better chance of hopefully listening. I mean, we were in Vegas, so there's probably some hungover people in that room.
Well, and you guys are just real estate agents.
But I mean, Inman was there, so I'm not talking about anything I can't talk about. It wasn't some secret society. Inman was there. They've published information. We're going to get into that in racket number 2 about it, but Brad and Rich Barton's conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But the agents that listen right now, it doesn't matter how we feel about what they're doing, whether it's flex pricing, Zillow Offers, whether they won't take your money right now in a zip code and they're only going to make you pay a referral fee. Our feelings on this do not matter.
Right.
Okay? And you're free to have your feelings. You're free to make stances. And there's a lot of videos I see right now on Instagram or on Facebook where people are saying Zillow's going to fail and they want to mark that down in history. I want to mark down in history right now. Zillow's not going to fail. They're going to be a major force over the next 10 years. And I look forward to reposting some of this content in 10 years when Zillow's stock price is 5, 10x what it is right now. Because that is where I believe the consumer is going to continue to go to get real estate information over the next 10 years.
Right.
And I think the moves that Zillow's making right now will make them extremely profitable over the next decade, right? So I want to be on record as saying such because I'm listening to what they're doing. And if you listen closely and if you put your emotions aside, you realize at that point that if I'm going to be a top team, a top agent in my marketplace, that having Zillow as a major lead pillar is going to be important. You don't have to build 100% of your business on Zillow. We talk about that all the time.
Right, of course.
But having them as a major lead pillar is going to be important. Somewhere we've missed the boat over the last however many years is not being heavy investors in market-based pricing with Zillow. We've spent the money that we've had over the last 5-10 years on branding and on content. We've built a marketing company out of it. Like that's been our play. And I think now we just have the opportunity to add a major pillar, Zillow internet leads. They generate more of them than anybody into our business because we have the ability to take a step back and actually listen to what's going on, listen to what they're saying they're doing, and then build systems, an organization, an agent base that can support that because somebody else will get it.
Absolutely.
The agents that are listening.
Well, we've always been talking about it, that it's very similar to when the whole bank crisis, right? The real estate crisis. And there were few agents that got all of those leads from banks too. So
getting an REO contract.
Absolutely. So
the customer, what are they demanding? They're demanding Amazon-like experience, right? They mentioned Uber and Lyft because it has made getting a car easy. The experience of going onto an app and scheduling something on time has become easy. The customer is going to demand that about real estate.
Well, and they know that you know the price up front before you even get into the Uber. Yeah. No, it's amazing. I like Uber.
Right? And so how we feel about they should be scheduling with us or with Zillow, like it doesn't matter. I actually believe most of the Zillow appointments are going to be scheduled by Zillow at some point. That's just a prediction. It's not something I heard here is going to happen, but I think most of these leads that are coming in are going to be scheduled at some point by Zillow. And as the top agents teams, we're going to have to adapt and meet those scheduled times. And when people say that, Nicole,
That's
agents go crazy and they're like, how do they know when I'm going to be? I have this schedule.
Well, they'll find somebody else to take that appointment.
Do you know how Uber works? You turn the app on and off when you're available as a driver. And then when a job comes up, you grab it.
Right.
Zillow's going to want to take the top 1% of teams that are really powerful. Like, there is a stat out there for a reason. 10% of agents do 90% of the deals. Right?
Yeah.
Like, we hear that everywhere. So Zillow finally caught on to that and said, okay, well, if we work with the top 10% of agents, that's 90% of transactions anyways. If we just focus on them, we're going to get paid. We're going to get referral fees.
Right.
Right?
Because they'll get the job done.
And so if those teams are on a app basis where they can turn off this calendar access or the scheduling access, people are going to do that, Nicole. So your feelings as an agent or some of the other agents' feelings about, I want to control my own schedule, my own calendar, they actually just don't matter.
No. You love controlling your calendar, though.
But Zillow's going to have control over your calendar if you want to work with them, and they should, because the customer.
Well, the customers
demanding it.
Right. Well, that's the biggest thing, and it seems like most of their decisions have been based around what the consumer is demanding. And as they said, they have the most data on it. So I mean, they're the ones that should know.
So that was just my takeaway number one.
Yeah, just
on
one.
Zillow Unlocked.
Oh boy, here we go.
All right, takeaway number 2 kind of ties into what we're talking about here with the app and the experience for the customer.
Yep.
I'll make this one quick because we're gonna have to jump off here in a little bit. Maybe we'll do part 2 of this next Real Word. You never know.
Well, I mean, you love talking, so this is perfect for you.
My unlock takeaway number 2 was their chief marketing officer, who's been there just about a year.
Okay.
Amy. Her name's Amy Johnson. What does that say right there, Nicole?
She was 14 years. Oh, you're letting me talk.
Yeah, you
Thank
can.
14 years at Starbucks, responsible for the Starbucks app.
The last 14 years of her career were at Starbucks. Responsible for you don't use the app, do you?
I don't. I'm not a Starbucks lover.
For those of you that use the Starbucks app,
you love the Starbucks app.
You know what I'm talking about. Like, it feels good to walk in a Starbucks, walk past the line of everybody that is not using the app for some reason. They're just sitting there waiting for their coffee, and go to the end and pick up my coffee, and I look at all of them, and I think in my head, you guys are suckers. That's the thought.
Maybe they enjoy waiting in line.
Maybe they do, or they just don't know.
They just need some.
I should now start going through the line and saying, hey guys, there's an app. It's amazing.
Well, I guess you would think the employees would push for that, though, too. You know, especially people that are constantly having to take orders. Like, wouldn't it just be so much easier to not have to deal with people?
Hey, guys, do you know about our app?
Right. Again, especially being the person behind the counter, it would be so much easier not to have to deal with them either.
But
especially if you're dealing with them before they get their coffee.
The app makes my coffee life easier. It allows me to do something more often, which is get coffee more often.
Yeah.
I like getting the coffee. I like getting the points.
Well, and it's so easy, so you probably do get coffee more often.
Yeah. So if I enjoy that experience, I'm going to use it more often. Same thing with anybody going onto the Zillow app. If they enjoy the experience more, and I just think she just seems like a baller. If she built that app or helped build it, I'm sure there's lots of people at Starbucks involved. But if she was involved leading the charge at Starbucks for that experience, I gotta believe over the next 5 years, she's gonna make the experience better for the consumer on the Zillow app, right? There's a whole bunch of good stuff we can get into with her, but we're kind of short on time. Control, delight, and simplicity in real estate is missing. Control, delight, and simplicity. Delight. People want to feel delight. I feel delighted when I go on the Starbucks app, I gotta say. And people want to feel delighted about their real estate experience, going back to what was in that text.
Well, it looks like you mentioned Disney too. I mean, obviously going to Disney with kids and the way that they've now.
Well, that's how they built the Starbucks app.
And it is delightful. Going to Disney is delightful. It's all, you just walk past people.
Her point, so basically the reason the Starbucks app was created was because there was these lines were growing even longer than they are today, right? And they're like, people are literally standing in the line and they realize they're number 12 and they get out and leave. So it's not like they were losing a lot of coffee sales. They were still selling plenty of coffee and cappuccinos.
But you're still losing a customer. Why do that?
Why say no to a customer? Why would you ever say no?
Never.
When you can say yes. So they've created a solution so that those people that are frustrated with the line, like me, I would be super frustrated and I would get less coffee, can now have a delightful experience. I haven't actually stood in the Disney lines, but what she's saying is after studying Disney, they were the best at creating delight throughout their experience with their lines. They've those easy passes.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, they have them at Universal now too, not just Disney, but yeah.
So Amy Johnson, I think she's a killer, and she's going to create a better experience. Now, can you compete? If you can compete with a $7 billion company on creating a delightful experience for your consumers,
I guess we'll get into.
then
I guess
go
so.
ahead,
We're going to get into the article now, or we're going to wait till next week.
Yeah, racket number 2. We'll get into the article
because it is talking. I mean, it does talk about the fact that Zillow does still feel like. It's
racket number 2. Brad was there. He interviewed Rich Barton.
Sounded like it was fascinating. Were you there for that?
I was. He had Patrick Kearns. I guess he was with him. He did refer to somebody being with him. I'm assuming it's Patrick, who wrote this particular article. We're not flipping, were the words out of the Zillow CEO as he reveals the impetus behind the iBuyer program. I got that word right.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. Of course, I did.
Trusting you on that. Do you know what it means?
Yes, the impetusness. It's like the thing behind the thing, right? It's like the meaning.
She's Googling it too.
It's like the bullet points. You get my impetus, all right? You get my point. I think
Go
it's the
easy.
point.
I feel like you could change that word very easily.
Yeah. All right. So he's saying they're not flipping. He's referring to basically the fact that they are losing money on every single transaction on average of these Zillow offers, the homes that they're buying.
Yes.
Okay. And so we know that. We've talked about that on The Real Word before.
Multiple times.
And that's where people are getting, in the industry are getting on their stand and saying, oh, Zillow, this isn't sustainable. This is going to blow up in their face. They're buying homes now. No. Part of the plan is to lose money on these homes because they're collecting more data than anybody has in the real estate industry. They've got more data. They're getting data through buying these homes. Rich said something that I don't think is in this article that's very interesting. He said Zillow is finding customers go into their homes for sale up to 15 times on average.
The article does explain that. It does explain that they want to make or allow consumers to preview properties whenever they want.
When I talk about the data, Zillow they've got 5,000 people. They've got people watching the behaviors of their homes that are available to view without an agent, right? Like an open door system. They basically put them on. You can just go without an agent and look at the property. And I believe this 100%. If you are anybody that's worked with buyers, residential real estate buyers in your career, you know that buyers would go into a house 15 times.
Oh, of course. To measure curtains, couches.
My grandma's sister wants to see it.
Yeah, my mom, my dog. I didn't show my kids. My kids want to see it again. Oh, my gosh.
Have to show my girlfriends.
Yes. And us as agents
I'm driving
are like, no, we
I
can't.
just happen to be driving by 7 times a day.
Yes.
And I need to see it every time I drive by.
Every time. Contractor, I want to make the kitchen bigger.
So does that delight a buyer?
It does delight a buyer. For sure.
If they have access to it without going through your schedule?
Right.
Because your schedule is a racket.
The most interesting part about that though too is
random.
So like as a buyer's agent, I don't necessarily have a problem with it. I have a bigger problem if I'm the listing agent. I don't really like to have the buyers come back through until we get through to a certain point. So again, it's
do your feelings matter though?
No, I'm just saying that it makes the most sense in that regard.
It makes the most sense for who? The customer.
Of course, yeah, because the buyer is going to have no roadblock of getting in. Because as a listing agent, I'm blocking you, but Zillow's not.
We got a bunch more of this stuff that we can dig into. If you want to read up a little bit about that Brad and Rich Barton conversation.
Yeah, well, you wrote it here. Real estate is under invested. I mean, they're talking about raising billions more.
Real estate is underinvested. Nicole's bringing up a great point. Rich said that he believes, so we're talking all about this SoftBank money coming into Compass. We're talking about open door money, all this money.
He still doesn't think that it's enough.
He says it's not nearly enough that's being invested in real estate. They're seeing a huge opportunity. We're definitely getting into some more of this stuff.
There's lots happening
here. If you've got a question on any of this stuff I just said, or another direction you want us to take,
or if you were there, what were your takeaways
on the Zillow Unlock experience?
I saw lots of fellow agents there. Yeah.
On what's happening, put it in the comments. We'll talk about it in episode 96. We're definitely going to link up this article that in Monroe off of the Brad and Rich conversation. So if you do want to read some more stuff, there's stuff in there. I'm sure there's going to be other articles that come out over the next couple days.
Of course.
And we'll get into it on episode 96.
Awesome. Right? I'm excited.
Keep it real, guys. Thank you.
Bye.